Well, hello there. It's Anita Gibson, coach, speaker, educational strategist, and the author of the book Starfinder. And the question for today is, are you in a storm? We have had a lot of storms in our area lately, and we were actually in Ocean City. It's a city, a beach city in our area, and we're sitting on the beach one day. Good morning, Cynthia. And notice off in the distance these dark black clouds. They were far away. The sun was still shining where we were, but down the way, it looked like something was going on, and it started to encircle the whole beach area where we were. And so everybody still was playing in the water and having fun. And I decided to get up and go ask the lifeguard, is everything okay? And so I said, what's that over there? And he said, yeah, it's a storm. And so I said, well, if you were me, what would you do right now? And he said, I would pack up my things and go home. Go inside to your hotel. Good morning, Michelle. And so my husband and I went over to him. I'd share with him what the lifeguard said, and we very quickly packed our things up and we moved inside. Now, no one else moved off of that beach, but that storm kept coming. And within 5 minutes, the time it took for us to get inside the building and up to our room, we are out on the balcony, and lo and behold, good morning, Jackie, here comes a storm. And everybody now is running off of the beach with all their stuff, with their little ones. It's just pouring crazy. But they didn't move when they saw that the storm was approaching. And it made me think about the fact that many of us are in storms right now. Some we can see on the horizon. We kind of know something's coming. Some hit us suddenly. And before we know it, we're fully in the midst of a torrential rainfall. I've had calls this week from at least 2 friends who have had family members die unexpectedly. And the level of devastation for them right now is unspeakable. They are in a storm. You might have had some news come through, something you didn't expect, something hit you at a deep level in your soul that you have to deal with. It could be betrayal. It could be an unexpected bill. It could be something going on with your children. Whatever it is, you are in a storm. And when you're in a storm, there's 3 things I want to share with you that you can do. One is you have to recognize where you are. Because sometimes when we're in a storm, like those people sitting on the beach, we don't even realize that, oh my goodness, if I could just look up, if I would just pay attention, I could recognize that something is going on that I need to respond to. And so the first thing I would say is recognize when you are in a storm. Sometimes when you're in a storm, you take on that thing personally, and it becomes depression. And it becomes low guilt, and it becomes all these different kind of things that are personal to you. When really the storm is outside of you. It has nothing to do with you, but you are impacted by it. So you got to recognize where you are. Because when you're in a storm, there's certain things that you should do. The second thing is you have to recognize, you have to be able to pray. You have to assume the position to recognize that you do not have control over what's going on in your life right now. And for some of us, like me, who like to have control, that is the most uncomfortable feeling, to be totally out of control, to not know what's going to happen next, to not know how am I going to get through this. And for some reason, God usually waits right to what we see as the last moment before he helps us with whatever it is that we're struggling with. And I think that's about trust. Getting us to the place where Do you believe me, Anita? Do you believe that I'm going to take care of you no matter what? That's right, Cynthia. It's through God. And so, one, you got to recognize you're in a storm. Because when you're in a storm, there's certain things you do. You put up an umbrella. You run for shelter. You don't just sit out on the beach, right? And let the rain just pour down on you. The second thing you do is you pray. You assume the position of prayer. You ask God, can you please show me how you want me to respond in the midst of what I'm going through? Because guess what? He knows what you're going through, and he's concerned about it. And the third thing you have to do is stay where he tells you to stay. Sometimes in a storm, you have to pull over and be still. You have to get under a bridge. Sometimes you can't keep moving. Sometimes you have to wait until it passes over or it lightens up before you can continue on with what you're doing. And some of us try to keep going. The storm is pouring down on us, and we try to keep pushing through because we think that's what we're supposed to do. But sometimes God allows it to rain so hard in our lives because he wants us to be still. He wants us to rest. He wants us to wait. And in our society, those things are not popular. They're not what we're told to do. It's always push and grind, but sometimes it's about being still, waiting on God and allowing him to help. Today I want to pray for those of you who are in a storm. Lord, I'm asking right now that you would bring a level of peace and grace to each mom who is listening to my voice. I'm asking you right now, Father, to help my dear sisters know that you are with them, that you have not left them, that you will never forsake us, God, that you have a plan for our lives that is so far beyond us, and that the storm is a part of that plan. You are the gatekeeper, God, and you don't allow anything into our lives that you haven't said okay to. So even if it's our fault that it's there is grace and there is mercy. There is hope. And so we're thanking you right now for our storms because we know they have purpose. And ladies, I'm not praying this and I'm not saying this because I'm not in a storm. I'm in one too. But I know that the God I serve is more than able. And yes, sometimes we get wet. Sometimes there are repercussions from our storms. Sometimes we're suffering. But even in that, we can identify with Christ who suffered. He said, take up your cross daily. He said, the scripture talks about taking up your cross. It talks about denying yourself, taking up your cross daily and following him. You have to go through the process. That's right, Cynthia. So you have to deny yourself. Forget about what you want. You have to take up that cross, that storm, that thing that you do not want to embrace. You have to go ahead and take it up every day. And then you have to follow. Follow what Christ is saying. And if that means be still, then be still. No matter what other people are saying around you, listen to the Father's voice. And you will always win. So if you're in a storm today, I'm praying for you. I'm lifting you up to the Father, that you would know that there is purpose in your storm. And God's not going to ever leave you nor forsake you. All right, guys, have an amazing day. And I was going to share something else, but I'm going to save it for another time. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. Hang in there, guys. You can do this. Love you.